Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And halfway through this double game week.
10/16th, but yeah, it's halfway really.
10/16th. Worked it out exactly.
5/8.
5/8. There are
I can't go any lower.
4 games left to go. No, 5 games left
6.
to go. Is there 4 games on Wednesday, is there?
Yeah, mate.
Ah.
There was a clue in 10/16th, mate.
10/6. Yeah. Yes. I thought you were trying to figure out the teams that had to play as opposed to the matches.
No, mate.
So it's not even worth counting the points yet, is it?
Yeah, it is because it's going well for me. But no, listen, I always say it when we come into double game weeks, it lasts the whole week. So if you're sitting there now thinking, it's been terrible, it doesn't mean it can't finish good. If it's gone quite well as it has for me so far, it doesn't mean it's going to finish great. I could have 15 blankers this week, although it feels unlikely. I think, I've set myself on a good footing for this week.
Yeah, I've not done particularly well. I mean, you say, look, 2 points per bench player, and I'm on from the weekend 8 from my bench, so it's only the bare minimum that I would
9.
expect. But my main team is where I've had problems more than anything else. Of a double Liverpool clean sheet wipeout that wasn't helpful, but I don't think that particularly mattered because most people had one at least.
I don't know about you, but there were limbs where I was. Fuck that double clean sheet.
The problem for me this week was Chelsea in Havertz and Mount both missing, and then obviously Chelsea conceding 2 to Wolves. Like, what's going on, son?
We'll talk about it.
So, yeah, Chelsea was the particular problem. Now, based on what happened on the weekend, though, they surely can't rest the whole team again against Leeds, because then they're going to get slapped by Liverpool next week.
Did Mount and Havertz get on at all?
Havertz got on Mount, didn't it? Was for like a 91st minute.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're subs again. Honestly.
If that's the case, then I reckon they're going to get smashed.
I would expect them both to start, but at Leeds on Wednesday. But I also wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I get that. I think the problem, Chelsea have a problem now of momentum going into that cup final, in my opinion.
Massively.
Yeah. So they have to play, and they've got an opportunity against Leeds to play themselves into this. Look at me clinging into straws with my Chelsea players.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah.
But it's cool. I'm on 46 points at the moment.
-4.
Yes, I forgot. I did take a hit.
For Nuno Tavares.
For Tavares. But I think Tavares will come back potentially. Well, actually, possibly not.
In fairness, you didn't take a hit for Nuno Tavares. Who was the other player you bought?
Edison.
Oh, okay. Who was the keeper you sold?
De Gea.
Oh, you're winning.
Anyone that sells any Manchester United player is winning.
Who was the defender you let go of?
Benjamin Janson. Didn't play.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're winning. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those where you just absolutely have to I'm on a green arrow as it stands, so
when you're 1 million in the world, that's quite easy, isn't it?
I'm not 1 million in the world, mate. Not 1 million in the world. I'm 163k at the moment. So it's 15 players still to go. It's a long way.
Do you think that the 15 players you got left can get you up to 100?
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Yeah.
The fact you didn't just go yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking like that's 55 points in any given week of 11 players. If you're getting 55, 60 points, that's pretty decent. So, and I'm talking about 15 players now getting me 60 points.
So 15 30s, 15 twos are 30.
Yeah.
Who did return for you?
Edison and Cancelo.
Cool.
Martinelli with an assist. Okay. Could have had more. And Richarlison with an assist.
Wow, that's banging, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the triple Chelsea that's the problem. Obviously, triple Liverpool all blanking.
Yeah, and I think the one for me in terms of part why it's turned out very well for me so far this week is I don't have any Chelsea and I also don't have any Tottenham either. So it's only Son that's been a problem between the two. And
you own Laporte, right?
He was the only one that was a problem for me last week as well. So yes, I have Laporte as well. And Foden. Come on for a return as well.
Yep.
Also had all 3 forwards. First time this season, 3 forwards, and they've all returned.
Wow.
Eddie Nketiah. I don't know if you've ever heard about him, Suj.
Nah, I think he's a bit part player.
We come back onto him as well. Ollie Watkins, great old school diving header. Love that. And Richarlison as well. That's all I've got. The 4 from Ben Foster you've got as part of your bench boost as well. That was a little bit of a surprise, actually, because I'd probably put his ceiling for the week at 4 points, actually. So I'm pleased that he's got that. I'm on 70 at the moment. Game week rank without hits is inside top 50k. So
very good.
Really happy. Risen to 58,000 before the midweek fixtures from 88,000 or so. So well pleased so far. To be honest, I expect that to go more green. The fact I got 70 and had a captain blank.
Yep.
As well is like, ooh. So you know when you have those weeks, and this happens a lot in double game, which you start really well, and you think, oh my God, I can get 150 and stuff like that. I don't particularly think that. But the fact that my captain's blanked and I've still hit that also makes me think, I know he's going to start at Villa tomorrow night. He could carry me a load of points up towards 100 tomorrow and stuff. So yeah,
just think about it as really a single game week. Take your bench. You got 8 points, right?
9
on your bench. So that's 61. So that's basically your 11 is a normal. You've just had a normal game week. Whereas if I take my 8 off my bench, I've got 38. Sorry, that's a bad game week by normal game week
Minus
circumstances. Oh, exactly that, 34. So I think the problem this week has been the main team, not the bench particularly. And I think a lot of people will have that problem.
Yeah, the differential for moment, so 27 points in the 3 City players yesterday, considering Foden's only come on a sub as well. It's obviously a major bonus. And I think Nketiah has been a
flavour of the FPL community.
Well, I think he went into the game week 5th highest owned in the top 10k, you know.
Wow.
So a lot went on for him, but not huge, like sort of 50%-ish or so. There's obviously a lot of free. I think the majority of people who are free hitted have probably gone with him, which makes sense. So he's done the business for a lot of people. I've seen some free hits that are in trouble at the moment. Certainly some people have sold out certain players who've returned and done very well this week.
Yep. There's always the risk with a free hit.
Of course.
And we're going into this week. I mean, you're not free hitting this week. I am going to be free hitting this week.
No, I'm saving it till the last day.
Obviously, because I've got my wild card is the only reason I'm going to free hit this week as well. And
you've weighed up because we discussed it last week.
Yeah,
you've weighed up because of the value.
Way too much.
You're better
value.
off free hitting now.
I mean,
than
just
wild
looking at
because of the players you might want on the final day, right?
Trent, for example, I got 0.9 in value on him. Rudiger, I've got 0.5 in value on him. Cancelo, I got 1.1, and those 3 alone is 2.5 million in value. So, and I'm
could you not wildcard and keep him though?
Who? Those 3?
Trent.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't...
Even if you didn't start him. Because if you're going with a team full of doublers, you're not going to struggle for budget, are you?
No. Unlikely to struggle because it's obviously Palace, Villa, Everton, Leicester are the main ones that I'll be looking at. So I'm not even looking at it until the end of the week, mate. Mainly because obviously injuries and what have you can play a part in it. So don't really want to spend too much time thinking about it.
FA Cup final Saturday night.
It is.
As well. So, I mean, you're sitting there at the moment with, 6 players who could be involved in the FA Cup final on Saturday night? Now, I know you're not going into next week with all 6 of them, but an injury there could completely derail your plans. I think, Suj, you should activate whichever you want to do and try and get a little bit of value.
The FA Cup's after I will have activated and set my team. So it won't make a difference to this week.
No, the FA Cup deadline's not till Sunday morning.
Oh, is it Sunday?
Yeah, mate. Deadline stream 9:30 a.m. UK time on the Planet FPL YouTube channel. Sold.
Oh shit! You learn a new thing every day. I thought there was a mixture of games on Saturday.
There are no Premier League games on Saturday, so you can really go out of your mind and get drunk Friday night and not worry about it this week. Just don't do that on Saturday instead.
Are you going to go out and get drunk on Friday night?
No.
No, because game week 39, mate, the South team, we've got a training session.
Training Saturday.
Training Saturday. What time is it?
We're a bit worried that there might be a bit of Bielsa shenanigans going on from the north, so we're not allowed to disclose any details.
Oh, spies.
6:30 a.m. on the beach, I think.
Spies.
Yeah, apparently. That's what we've heard. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck that. If anyone from the north wants any spy videos...
There's nothing to see.
I'll send you, DM me, I'll send you a link to my PayPal, wire me 10 quid, and I'll video the entire training session for you, the north.
They'll send you 20.
Good. We're going to talk about some of these games. Again, for the listeners, we have a full review of the midweek games on Friday. And Friday, we'll obviously talk in much more detail about free hits for this week. Because quite a few people will be on free hit this week as well. I think a number of people have saved bench boost for this week as well.
Yeah, there was a few people I saw who walked into real problems this week as well. Things like Jacob Ramsey and stuff, who were set to bench boost and then it just didn't feel right. I mean, my bench next week is going to look ridiculously strong. Although he's going to have probably talking about maybe having the likes of Saka and maybe even Foden sitting on my bench, for example, next week. And I did weigh it up and look at it, but I just felt, look, the opportunity was in front of me. Pull it, do what you said, James. You're likely to have 7 starters or so from your 4 on the bench. Take your 16 or so points and move it on. Because those single players next week could easily be rotated or whatever, particularly in the case of, say, City attacking players and stuff like that. So, but I know a few have put it off and will still do it. I think it was 40% of top 10k bench boosted, I think, this week.
Wow.
There's not that many left, but there are, it's about 5% left, I think. So there will still be people doing it now or in 38, and for many people this week will look better.
Yep. Brentford 3, Southampton 0, early game. We thought this was going to be a you draw, we draw, we all draw, and we're all safe type game.
Brentford decided none of that.
Nah.
Interestingly, if Everton win their next 2 games, they're above Southampton before Southampton play again.
Wow.
This should be all right. I struggle to see Burnley and Leeds getting to 41. Southampton's goal difference is certainly way better than Leeds. What's their goal difference, Suj?
Minus 20.
Yeah, so that's worse than Burnley, isn't it? It's much better than Leeds, isn't it? Leeds minus 35.
Yeah, Leeds is very bad.
So if Leeds lose to Chelsea on Wednesday night, effectively Southampton are safe, basically. Certainly everything above Southampton is definitely safe now, all bar the mathematics. Brentford not officially, but yes, they are. They're not going down on 43 points. Yeah, look, really good for them. They changed the system as I thought they might. They didn't have a good night at Old Trafford last week, which looks more bizarre having watched United again on Saturday night. This 4 at the back is working better for them for the front 3. We've discussed this. I don't think you're looking at their assets right now for the rest of the season, but there are a few there who have done really well consistently this year. The likes of Janssen, Christopher Gere, Raya in goal I've spoken about, really good. I really like him. I think there might be a few clubs look at him this summer, actually. Not to suggest that he's going to move, but I really like him, actually. They've done really well. It's probably more, from Brentford's perspective, it's probably more the relevance to the relegation fight, isn't it? Because they go to Everton on Sunday and they play Leeds at home final day.
Yeah.
They're in good form, aren't they?
Who, Brentford?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. I think they're going to put up a fight. Like, it's not on the beach type stuff for Brentford. If that's what you're implying, I think they're going to go for it.
No, I don't think so at all.
I think they've got pride to play for. Thomas Frank.
I think if anything, and this does happen with. This is why on the beach is always so difficult to read. As some teams like Southampton look like they've become one of them over the last 6-7 game weeks or so. Whereas Brentford, it's like the shackles and the fear have come off, and they're playing with more freedom. I mean, like the second goal of the weekend's great goal, and even Najer's goal. Big, tall fullback playing out of position, basically strolling through to roll in the third goal. They're doing really well at the moment. They're playing with freedom. Eriksen's obviously massively helped, and I think a lot of Brentford fans' thoughts will be on, can they obviously hold on to him this summer? For Saints, where it does get a little bit interesting, is obviously they don't now play till next Tuesday. So everyone else is playing in between. So if Leeds, Burnley and Everton do get results in between now and then get squeaky. I think it probably needs Burnley to win at Tottenham for Southampton to really get worried. But if you had that with Leeds beating Chelsea, then they've got to play Liverpool. They honestly could. They're not definitely safe, but I think it probably needs Leeds
needs a miracle.
Leeds to win on Wednesday and Burnley probably to win on Sunday for them to be really nervous about it.
Yeah,
it should be fine. But it's strange with them. I've spoken about this before. It's like this happens every year, isn't it? You definitely ain't looking at Saints assets for the rest of this season.
Forget about it.
That's gone. And especially with Liverpool next week as well.
Burnley 1, Villa 3. Villa on and off the beach, I think, but then obviously they've won their last 2 now and done all right.
Well, this is the point though. If Villa hadn't won their last 2,
they'd be right in there as well.
In the shit as well right now. So,
yeah,
good win. They changed a few things. So
yeah, Coutinho obviously dropped down to the bench.
I wasn't overly shocked. I'd say yes, I was. I didn't think he played the Liverpool game, and I actually thought that he might play a deeper midfield role. Because of Ramsey's injury. What they actually did was they put Callum Chambers into midfield and brought Konsa back into the team. And obviously Buendia played behind the front too. Now, interestingly, for Coutinho owners and people like me, thinking double-double, and I'd got him in for Norwich, did that team play so well that it stays,
I mean, Buendia's a goal and an assist. Ings has scored in the last couple. Watkins obviously on the score sheet. And do you change a winning team like that? I mean, McGinn's... I don't know.
I don't think Coutinho starts tomorrow now.
Yeah,
I think it's another 1-pointer. But then I wouldn't have had expectation on against Liverpool anyway, so not that fussed about it.
No, and you've got your points out of Ollie Watkins.
What Coutinho owners want is Buendia to just roll his ankle, not badly or anything, just enough for next week. And so I think... it could be that they lose badly tomorrow night and then he changes it again. Lee Jackson's obviously, I'm recording with him tonight for Clash of Correspondents, which will release tomorrow prior to that Liverpool game. So we'll get his opinion on what he thinks with Coutinho. But from my opinion, I might even move him. Zaha is a definite for me this week, I think. I've got 2 free transfers. I rolled last week. Zaha's a definite. It's just a case of what am I moving to him from? Is it going to be Coutinho? Because I now think, okay, he's got a double, but I don't think he's going to start. Do I move Foden on? Do I move Saka on? Everything's kind of 1 week decision now, bearing in mind all 3 hit in 38. And it could be that I just go Coutinho to Zaha.
Yep.
Every possibility. If I don't think he's going to start, what's the point? But that said, the double is Palace at home, Burnley at home. Considering what Villa have done to him there, at the weekend, do I even look at it and go, well, actually, I'll keep him. I'll keep him because maybe I don't think he starts against Palace, but then last home game of the season against Burnley, maybe he does. And you could you can certainly make a case for that. And I suspect I probably will hold him, almost irrespective, and go, do you know what? I'm going to start him. I think that's probably the most likely for me, thinking, he might play this reverse fixture. Burnley have, and we've spoken about it for a long time, this hasn't changed in the game since Sean Dyche left. They have a major spatial issue between their back 4 and their midfield 4, and it's not fixed. So for games like this, players like Buendia and Coutinho and Danny Ings, who wants to drop short, are the sort of players who are going to give Burnley trouble. If not, Michael Jackson, he's not changed the wheel. This is the same Burnley. They just had a good little run. And I'm worried for them now because of Tarkowski's injury. Might be one too many. So I think like Nathan Collins at centre-back's been getting better every game. I think he's been doing really well. You put Kevin Long into that team now is now a real problem. When you're playing Harry Kane potentially on Sunday.
Yeah, not ideal.
So you have to assume Tarkowski's probably played his last game for Burnley. He's obviously out of contract. For him to come off, a minute into the second half suggests they try to go and have a look at it at the start of the second half, and he's gone, no, can't do it. So if anybody gets injured at this point of the season, they're probably done, aren't they?
That's only a week and a bit to go.
That's a major blow. Now you look at
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks left of the season.
This time in 2 weeks, season's finished, mate.
Yep.
Now you look at them with Tottenham away, Villa away, Newcastle at home final day, and you wonder, can they get the attacking returns? Because I wouldn't be too hopeful of clean sheets from them in those 3 fixtures. Despite the fact I said if Burnley need a draw on Sunday, you can probably bank your life that they'll probably get it. Up front, they've got issues of Vidra was missing at the weekend. Jay Rodriguez has had an issue. Obviously, Cornet's just come back. But if the front 2 stay as it was at the weekend, Weghorst and Barnes, teams can just go smash you 20 yards up the pitch. You ain't worried about them 2 going in behind you. And the more you push Burnley up high and take the threat of them being near your goal, the more you stop the crossing ability and all that shit you hate with them, the ball coming into the box and stuff. So they definitely need, primarily Vidra, I'd say, to come back. More likely is I think they'll just throw Cornet through the middle. And he might be the interesting. He's obviously scored late at the end of the game. Ironically, blew a lot of Villa clean sheets, including mine on Matty Cash. The goal came because Villa were trying to get a fourth, and they were mentally switched off.
It happens so often in football.
It could go the other way. Like I said, the teams try and squeeze it really high, and then obviously if Cornet plays up front, he can get him behind. That might be what they do. Actually, be interesting. I would think Cornet will play up front if Vidra's not back available. Otherwise, I think they'll try and change it up. Even at Tottenham, I wouldn't be surprised they go 4-2-4. And I think people hearing that will be thinking, well, Tottenham might do some damage then on Sunday. Yeah, the answer is we might.
Yeah, I think Burnley will be thinking what? So Leeds...
I think the most important result for Burnley before their rematch with Villa is Leeds, possibly even tonight. Not tonight, Wednesday night, sorry.
Because Leeds, if you look at Leeds' fixtures, they could lose all three of their remaining games. Chelsea
don't need to do anything.
Form. Brighton will expose Leeds with their football.
You could make a case
massively, and then Brentford on the last day away.
You could make a case that Leeds' best chance of winning the game left is the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Could make a case for that.
This is what I think for Burnley now. They might only need one win. I mean, they might not need anything really because their goal difference is so superior. Leeds have conceded as many goals almost as Norwich now. There's only one difference in it.
Is that right?
Leeds have conceded 74 goals, James. Norwich have conceded 75, and that's after getting 4-0 slapped at the weekend.
So before yesterday, Leeds have conceded more than Norwich.
That's true.
Jeez. Also broke the record for most yellow cards in a Premier League season this weekend as well, Leeds.
Oh, man.
If you'd offered Burnley fans to say, look, if you beat Newcastle last day, you stay up, they'd take that, I think.
Yeah. I think so as well. Tricky.
They'll probably need to get something in one of those two away games. Would you look at Burnley at all? You're on free hit.
No.
Essentially.
Pope.
Cornet, Pope.
Pope's a classic, and he's always
he is.
around.
But it's difficult to make a case for him when Pickford's got them two home games.
And Pickford's in some form, mate.
Yeah.
He is in some form. Another Sky Man of the match yesterday. Lovely jubbly.
Although you could work Mason Holgate in. What price is Kevin Long, Suj?
Kevin Long. He is too expensive.
That's your double game week 37 hero right there, mate.
He is too expensive, whatever he is.
This time I'm genuinely joking.
Chelsea 2, Wolves 2. Two great defensive sides, mate.
Is that a joke? Or?
Yeah, it's a kind of if you'd have asked me to guess scores for this match, 2-2 is the last thing I would have predicted.
Wolves haven't conceded a first half goal in an away game, I think, since September.
Okay. Fun stat. Nice.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and Chelsea, obviously, we know how good they are set up.
And I think we've got to give Wolves some credit here because we've battered them last couple of weeks, actually, and partly rightly so. I thought Conor Cody's interview after the game was great, speaking about, he'd heard people saying they were on the beach and they didn't care and stuff like that. And look, they showed grit and determination here. And they were unlucky to be a couple behind in the first place. I mean, Dendoncker should have put them one up in the first half after Mendy had saved from Neto. And they hung in the game. And I've not seen a lot of this, but the alarming bit of it was just how open Chelsea were.
Yeah.
And I was at home Saturday afternoon, just about to go out to go and watch Spurs. And I had Soccer Saturday on. And I think it was Lee Hendry was doing the game. And even when Wolves equalised, he was like, Wolves can still win this. Like, Chelsea are gone. They're all over the shop. So how or why they've ended up so open? I mean, Thiago Silva just goes wildly out of position for, I think, the first goal and stuff. There's large reports of, obviously, Alonso was replaced at half-time. We've seen Thomas on the Man On pod, who's had some interesting Chelsea news in the past. He's not a Chelsea fan, he's an Arsenal fan, actually, but I think he's got a source, which others have now potentially reported of a mass dressing room bust-up between Tuchel and Alonso, which was why he was withdrawn at half-time. There's a few suggesting Alonso won't play for Chelsea again. So you may be stuck on your 1 point for the rest of the year. You haven't got him, have you, Suj?
No,
that's okay. But it leaves them with a problem, right? What do? You play Sal against Rafinha on Wednesday night. And this is where Leeds have got a chance Wednesday night. Their heads have got to be in the cup final. But then, I still think they're absolutely certain of fourth, because I think all they'll have to do is beat Watford last game. That's literally all they'll have to do to finish top four. So I don't have any concerns about them. If they lost at Leeds and Tottenham won on Thursday, and then Tottenham won Sunday and Arsenal won Monday before Chelsea then play on the Thursday, then yeah, there's a little bit of pressure on that Leicester game. But I'm still certain that they'll have to do little more than beat Watford final day to finish top 4. But probably to the point where obviously the team selection anyway kind of dictated that he wasn't going to mass rotate for the Leeds game anyway. The fact that he left Havertz and Mount out, and I think we should have the expectation that they start now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question about Chelsea predicting the lineup against Leeds, but I don't even think it's worth it. It's kind of a waste of it. Whatever we get, we kind of get, and it's not like I can make any transfers to counteract it. But I think they'll play. I think they'll beat Leeds. I think they'll play a decent enough team with the cup final in mind. Let's play ourselves into some form and go out and give it. I
think they'll probably go there and win as well.
But who knows, right? Lukaku scored twice. You don't want to. Do you want to then
play him
take
again?
Him out of the team?
Play him again.
Well, then where does Havertz do? Play 2 up top?
Yeah, well, they've been playing 2 up front for the last few weeks anyway, with primarily Mount behind Havertz and Werner. Pulisic played that role on Saturday, the one in behind. Lukaku, you might have some confidence in him at the moment. Play him again. To be honest, the way it is at the moment, if he played again on Wednesday and scored at Leeds, I'd play him in the cup final as well. Just get some confidence out of him while it's there. He's still a beast of a player, isn't he?
I know.
So I think play him, yeah.
Wolves have obviously got City in the second half of this double, and they don't have a double in 37, but a lot of people free hitting in 7. They do have
Norwich
in 37.
Do you look at them as particularly defensive ones?
If I was looking at them, I'd go blanket defence. I don't think I could trust the attack per se, where to go or whatever. I would look at 2 or 3 of the, like Sarr's fine, but I probably wouldn't. I'd go Pickford with a double.
Well, this is the point. Would you go Sarr or Pickford?
Pickford with a double.
Would you go Cody or Coleman?
Probably Cody. I don't really fancy defensively. I'd rather go Cody.
What's the difference?
I suppose if Pickford's getting clean sheet points, Coleman's going to be getting the same clean sheet points kind of thing.
And there's the small chance for attacking returns for him as well.
Yeah, it's true.
As there is with Mason Holgate.
You could probably work out the percentage chance of Everton keeping 2 clean sheets, and I bet you Wolves' 1 clean sheet percentage chance is higher than if you added up Everton's 2, just because of how bad Norwich are.
No, I don't think so.
I can't see Norwich scoring. I mean, they've had a couple of chances at the...
You won't have a Wolves player on your free hit.
Yeah, it feels like...
You won't do it.
You should... You can't discount it with them playing Norwich.
You don't need to save the money either. Even still, let's put it a different way then. Are you going to pick Cody because they've got Norwich? Money, no object. Are you going to pick him over Cancelo at West Ham or Trent at Southampton?
No.
Or even Sessegnon at home to Burnley at this stage. We'll talk about him in a bit. I don't think you do, mate.
No, it's a shame though, because you want to try and pick up anyone playing Norwich.
I get that. And listen, those who've got, and that's why it's one where I think a few went into this week with the likes of Sarr, Cody. We're looking at bench boosting. They've had a few other issues. Now it comes back round. Yeah, of course, you can use them for this, can't you? Norwich exactly. At home, great. But I don't think you're going to go and invest in them new, particularly if you're without something for the final day, chip-wise, with Liverpool away final day as well. So, no, it's gone. But fair credit to them, because that's making a really weird noise, Days.
Yeah, I was unscrewing this lid.
At least you're unscrewing something. Yeah, that real credit to them, because I think everybody's kind of battered them and they were gone, and maybe they're not. And maybe they'll give City a proper game now.
Palace 1, Watford 0, Watford gone.
I doubt it, by the
way. Watford gone. Palace, you know when Zaha scores the penalty, all I think is like, oh, you're gone a week early, mate. It's annoying because you kind of feel like, well, he's got a penalty this week. He'll get another one next week, surely.
He went 2 weeks early. He was the only player who didn't have a double this week gone, who I was considering on
this week
on my wild card I wild carded. The only player, because at Southampton, Watford, then double.
Yeah.
Even United final day as well. Great, bring it on. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. There was a leak out of the Palace team prior to deadline, which I think possibly saved quite a few people on Mateta. So a lot of people were bench boosting with Mateta, and if they didn't have Nketiah, should have gone to Nketiah, similar price, get it done as long as it was affordable. He only played the last 7 minutes. It's worth saying he should have scored, actually, in those 7 minutes that he was on. And the margin of victory here would have been much greater, actually, bar a decent performance from Ben Foster.
Yep.
Did you see his interview afterwards?
Save points. No, I didn't. What did he say?
I mean,
he's going to retire.
Brutally honest.
What for the shine?
Not about his teammates. Saying we've got some players here who put the effort in for 60, 70 minutes and they can't be bothered for the rest of it, basically.
Maybe he's just not fit enough.
Like the manager couldn't be bothered to go and acknowledge the away fans, which didn't come off well, particularly as he was at Palace as well. But yeah, to be honest, again, I was a bit uncomfortable watching Roy Hodgson afterwards. He still looked ill. And I thought, get yourself out of there, mate.
That's 3 games to go. So
they've got left, obviously, Everton Wednesday night, Leicester at the weekend, then Chelsea final day. Yeah, Norwich might not finish bottom, you know. Not that I expect Norwich to get anything in their remaining games. Norwich have got Leicester, Wolves, Tottenham. That's the big debate. Stop debating the title race and all that. Who's going to pick up that wooden spoon? Norwich v Watford. About they haven't got something to play for. They ain't about 2 million a place or something.
It's 2 million a place.
Delia will love that, wouldn't she? That's an extra 2 million you can spend on someone in the Championship next season. Yeah, they're pitiful, Watford. And the thing that I've maintained during the season is they've got good attacking players and they'll score goals. Well, actually, the goal scoring's completely dried up as well. So I think, again, if you've got they're ones you're looking to move on. The problem is that the value of Dennis and stuff, if you've got Dennis and you've got Nketiah, and actually with Nketiah, you've kind of probably missed the boat, actually, a bit. What are you doing with it? You're just leaving it and benching it in most people's cases, I think. And
yeah. Let's talk about Brighton for Manchester United.
Just before we do, anything else interest Palace this week? I haven't ruled it out. I think Gay Anderson, interesting.
Yeah, one of, maybe. I'm not likely to have more than 2. Conor Gallagher?
No, not at the moment. Him and Eze both played in the midfield 3 at the weekend with Will Hughes playing a deeper line role. Zaha did still stay out wide because Vieira had spoken a week about when they're playing him up front, but it was Edouard who played through the middle. It's really confusing for Palace attackers, basically, other than Zaha. He's the only one that I'd consider. Defensively, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, one I think is okay.
I wouldn't rule it out because it's just 1 week thinking. I wouldn't rule out Gahey or Anderson. I think Gahey would have the slight benefit. Although I noticed he's yellow flagged, actually, Mark Gahey. Potential ankle injury. He came off early the other day. Well, if he's out, I'm no interest. I wouldn't be interested in the replacement. It's interesting what they do with that. There's a few different things they could do. They could drop Chiarte in, bring Mitchell back in, maybe play Ward inside. I think Tompkins is available at the moment. If Gay's out, though, that completely put me off Palace defence. I'd have no interest.
Makes them weaker defensively than
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about Brighton 4, Manchester United 0. Trossard trolling, as he does. He has been on fire since I sold him. 54 points in 7 weeks, was I?
I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I don't know if it's first, but it's got to be, maybe it's like second to Sonny, maybe. Since you sold, he's got to be nearly the highest scoring player in the game, mate.
Yeah, and I think I sold Sonny.
You need to know that he has still the right decision.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, I sold Sonny for Havertz when they had the double and captained Havertz. So even in that situation, it's like, fine, right, I'm keeping Kulusevski. There was logic behind selling Sonny, but a player like Sonny, can always hurt you. Trossard, you think, all right, he might have one good game, he might pick up one return, fine, but he has been on fire. I think it's ridiculous what he's done since. Most people thought Brighton would probably beat Manchester United because they've been in good form. They play better football.
He's having a bit of banter. A few of the patrons messaging me Saturday because I'd said on this pod last Monday, I threw away and went, Brighton will beat Man United at the weekend. I just said it calmly like that.
We knew they would.
None of them picked out on it until afterwards and were like, do you know what, James? That comment angered me a little bit. But I didn't
United fans?
Yeah, angered me a little bit. But then they were like, yeah, shit. And I'm thinking there's a reason why you didn't actually say it at the time because you didn't have any confidence either.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about United. I'd like to thank Brighton because actually watching them and enjoying them really eased my nerves going into the game at Anfield Saturday night. And they've landed on this system now, which is basically 3-4-2-1 without the ball. The two wide centre-backs play really wide, and it allows the wing-backs to push really high. And let's be honest, Leandro Trossard's nobody's wing-back, right? And I did this on Talking Tactics. I looked at the Wolves fixture where they did something really, really cute, that Trossard and McAllister swap positions both in and out of the ball. So Trossard plays left wing-back in possession. They were funneling back in. McAllister was going from left forward into wide of a free central midfield three, and Trossard was moving forward to left-sided forward, which then built them up as a 4-3-3 with Solly March going right back into right back, although an offensive right back position. Potter is such a clever bloke, mate. Someone eventually is going to take a chance on him. And honestly, again, as I said this time last year, if Conte goes and Tottenham are interested, I'm happy with that. I've got no problem with it. They scored a quarter of their home league goals this season on Saturday. And the reality is they could have got more. The first 20 minutes or so of the second half, they absolutely wiped the floor with them. Caicedo, 19 years old in midfield, obviously scored the opener, his first goal. What a super little talent he is. It's come basically from a few weeks ago, before they played Arsenal. No one would have even heard of him, I don't think. Him and Basuma got a good relationship. Basuma's obviously going to get looked at by clubs this summer.
He's been talked about for a while.
McAllister and Trossard are both clever, cute players. And I think Welbeck has really helped them recently as well, because he just stretches teams all the time. And sometimes Brighton can be quite nice to play against because they're always in front of you, if you will, never looking to go behind. Welbeck wants to move in behind all the time. We spoke, before they'd won at Arsenal, we spoke about this record that they were really missing Adam Webster. This has turned up so much now, they're not even forcing Webster back in the team. They've just landed on something that's absolutely working. I know Sam FPL Seagull was big on them playing free at the back. And to be honest, their first 11 that played on Saturday is better than the 11 that Manchester United had on the pitch.
Yep.
I don't know how many who joke about it. How many United players are getting the Liverpool team, whatever. How many of them United players are getting the Brighton team? Seriously.
On current form, very few.
A handful. A few obviously would. Ronaldo's, Fernandez's and stuff. But it wouldn't be all of them, would it?
No,
It wouldn't be anywhere near.
No. And yeah, I mean, you say you don't want to talk about Manchester United. There's a lot of trouble there. It's exposing how many average players are in that squad.
What's the goal difference between you and them?
We've got a better goal difference.
You got a better?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
By about 5 or 6. Actually, to be honest with you, we were 6 better off
you might
before we played Norwich, I think.
You might lose by 5 or 6 on Sunday.
Yeah, we're 10 goals better off now. We were 6 before we played
What's
Norwich.
their goal difference, United?
1.
Plus or minus?
Plus 1.
They're going to finish on the lowest ever Premier League points total. That's confirmed. They've got 1 game left away to Crystal Palace. They are 3 points clear of you, and you've got final day. You've got Brighton away final day.
Yeah.
Anything is, I don't fancy you to win either of your last 2. To be
well,
honest,
City we're going to lose because we regularly do.
I wouldn't be. It's the one game in the title race I think could still
twist it. I agree with you. That last day of the season game against Brighton, if we need to win to overtake Manchester United, or we know that if we win, say we're on the same points as them,
then Brighton will destroy you on the counter attack.
That game's going to be fun to watch. You're right. Like, we could easily lose it, but if you're talking about last day of the season, nothing to play for type games, I think that game is going to be fun to watch because we're going to have to go for it. Brighton play good football. It's going to be entertaining. Last day of the season. Fun.
So you're going Trossard and Bowen 38, are you?
Wild card. Let's do it. No. Welbeck and
Bowen.
Ben Rama. Sod it. Let's have a bit of Ben Rama.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Liverpool 1, Spurs 1. SofaScore do that whole graph thing where they show the swing of play.
And let's have a look at it.
It looked very similar to the one against Manchester United when Liverpool played. It was in the first half particularly was very, very Liverpool-centric. And obviously they had way more chances, way more possession, way more everything. But you do expect that against Spurs who want to play on the counter. When you went 1 up, did you think you could hold out and win? You thought defensively you would be able to?
Yeah.
It's interesting because Christian Romero got Sky Man of the match.
No, I think Ben Davies did.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought I saw the gold star against Romero.
I'm sure it was given to Ben Davies. But you could have given it to any of the back five. They were all great.
What do we take from this? Because now, obviously...
you're talking about the Sky Fantasy Man of the match might have been Romero.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What do we take from this?
Yeah, I mean, any kind of concerns around Liverpool assets? Not so much.
Concerned?
Yeah.
No. If anything, maybe even more interested because although obviously the result now means it's very much in City's hands, City's result yesterday means...
Yeah, Sky Fantasy was Romero. Yeah.
There is a little bit more of a gap now in terms of goal difference. And the chance Liverpool's best hope winning the title now is on goal difference, right? It's City losing a game.
Yeah.
It's the only other way Liverpool win it on points now is probably if I don't know, City draw on Wednesday and then draw with yourselves on Sunday. It's not impossible, don't get me wrong. But you're looking for City to... I think Liverpool fans will be thinking one slip, one chance of them losing a game. With I think West Ham being the more likely game than Wolves. I'm thinking as well in terms of City did have a bit of vulnerability towards aerial balls yesterday against Newcastle. And they've obviously got defensive issues, which we'll come on to as well. So Liverpool got to go for goals, Suj.
Yeah.
Got to go for goals.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the chances are what City now play twice more before Liverpool play at Southampton next Tuesday. The most likely scenario is that City are going to be 6 points clear. It might also be about 10 goals clear. Still, it's not like Southampton to throw in a 9-0 or anything. Sorry, Saints fans. But yeah, I'd actually, not that I mean, would you consider Salah for captain if he comes through Saturday's cup final unscathed and stuff? Or are you definitely going with a doubler? I feel like Richarlison's going to be hugely popular for captaincy.
Probably a doubler. It's the boring fantasy manager thing.
No, it's not.
But
though.
Everton
it's the penultimate
will
weekend of the season.
Yeah.
Doing Salah this week's the boring. But if you think Salah's going to be the highest scoring player, then
go for him.
Do it.
I think I'll be going a doubler, mate. To be honest with you, as much as I like to flirt with the idea of getting Salah, I've
got it bust on Richarlison, and if he comes through the next few days fit, then I'm pretty sure that's probably what I'll be doing actually. In terms of Liverpool assets, one of the interesting things from the weekend, I guess, was Andy Robertson's substitution shortly after Tottenham were taking the lead and shortly after the 60-minute mark. I think all of us who owned Robertson were thinking he's not starting at Villa, and he still might not. But the fact he missed the last half hour here means actually he might.
Is that his rest? That's the question,
he might
isn't it?
now, yeah.
And the fact that they've drawn and they need to win now every single game means you'll probably roll out from his team.
I think Klopp probably regretted not... Actually, regretted is incorrect. Probably wishes he'd given him a rest at some point over the last couple of weeks. I think that was obvious. He'd spoke about it after the Newcastle game. In fact, in terms of him regretting, he's actually probably pleased that he did still play Robertson in Villarreal, I should imagine. But yeah, it was a big statement to take him off, obviously, with half hour to go and them chasing the game. But understandable, I think. And maybe he's looked at it and goes, shit, I want Robertson to start against Villa. Again, maybe it might be 60, 70 minutes again, possibly. So, actually, possibly even a bonus there for Robertson owners. The Luis Diaz goal, by the way, I think it's an own goal. And it's not the only one at the weekend. In fact, Ben Rama's first goal for you yesterday, I think the original shot's going wide. I think someone's being lazy.
Ben Rama's, I'm not so sure. I thought it was going bottom corner, to be fair, but the deflection came pretty. Sometimes the deflection's late. Sometimes if someone shoots and the deflection's quite straight after the shot, then it's hard to tell what the angle of the ball necessarily might be going. But I don't know.
It was one of only 3 shots on target from Liverpool, though. I noticed Klopp, ever the graceful one when his team doesn't win a game, wasn't happy with the way Tottenham played. I presume he wasn't happy with it either then when Tottenham won at the Etihad and kept this title race alive for so long. I don't know what he expects. His team's the best team in the world. Teams aren't just going to come and go, come on in, Jurgen, let's play against you. Any team who does that is going to get beat. It probably includes Man City to a certain extent. So really, really proud of the way we defended. Gutted that we didn't win, because I'd said to you on on the Tottenham pod we did last week that I felt like drawing and losing was the same thing. I felt like go for it. I wanted to go ape when he took Sonny off for a couple of minutes to go. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe he took him off because I knew there was going to be one more counter-attacking chance in it. I'd actually would have taken Kane off if that's what he wanted to do and just let Bergwijn and Sonny try and run in behind on them at the end of the game. Liverpool knew there was a threat all game long. And I think the real period of the game where Liverpool didn't score in the first half, when they had a kind of real 10-15 minute period that felt like we couldn't get the ball anywhere near their half, we got through that. And actually, when we got on the ball and played through them, we looked like what we thought that we could go there and hurt them. I'd been saying it all week. I don't expect to get anything at Liverpool, but there's something in me that says there's a chance here. And to go back to your original question, yes, when we scored, I thought we were going to win because we're defending so well. The two wing-backs were outstanding, Emerson and Ryan Sessegnon. Emerson actually got voted on Tottenham's Twitter, Tottenham's man of the match, which is really nice because he's had so much stick and actually his performance was very good. He was actually very good when we played at the Etihad, interestingly as well. I think he's a fullback. I actually think defensively he's okay. It's the expectation of him on the ball. But actually, his delivery and stuff at the weekend was okay. That chance at the end on Højbjerg's header, where he's tried to square it, and even Bergwijn's right behind Højbjerg, if Højbjerg gets out of the way. There was regret for me. I was proud, but real regret that we didn't win the game. From the FPL perspective, I've mentioned, obviously, Sessegnon.
£4.3 million.
I think there has to be a consideration for him because it looks like, and we didn't have the information this time last week, but it looks like Reguilon's not going to be back available. So Sessegnon also is very injury prone. He's never likely to make it more than a couple of weeks at a time, but he's only got to make it through 3 more games. Now, if he makes it through Thursday night, there's no reason to think that he won't start against Burnley and Norwich. And you do look at those games.
Those
I think
2 games are...
The potential is definitely there for the clean sheet. Of course it is. And with the attacking return, there's a very high ceiling there for a potentially low-priced player. So I think those who have the luxury, and particularly free hitters, people like Ryan Sessegnon, I think, should be considered. If he's fit for game week 38, he'll probably be in for me on my free hit then. I'm pretty sure I'd go Sessegnon. Sessegnon's son, definitely. Kane will come down to affordability with what I want elsewhere from other teams and stuff. But I think, as long as he's fit, he'll go in for me 38. And I think people can consider him. But he will, as soon as you get him in, he'll get injured. But definitely wait till after Thursday night first, because honestly, he really is injury prone.
Arsenal obviously started Sunday winning 2-1 against Leeds. Started like a train, and then Leeds came down to 10 men. You think this is going to be a rout. It didn't end up being a rout, and Leeds at the end actually rallied enough to cause Arsenal some
excited,
heart-in-mouth moments. But obviously it didn't come through. So they've now opened up a 4-point lead. If you draw on Thursday and it's a 4-point lead with 2 to go,
it's finished.
It is basically done. Yeah. And they've got Newcastle and Everton. You've got 2 winnable games. Oh, it ain't over till it's over, but I can see they're playing well enough right now.
The chances are we need to win. That said, if it's a draw and then we go and win Burnley and they go to Newcastle and it's 1 point, even if they draw, they then know because the goal difference, they've probably still got to beat Everton last day, which you would expect them to do. So, look, I mean, I think Arsenal, I would say at the moment, are probably 75%-ish, I guess, for fourth.
That's fair.
If it's a draw, I think that probably goes up to about 90%-ish. I think if we win, Arsenal would still be sort of 60%-ish, I think. So it's still obviously going to favour them, whatever the result is, even if we win. But then the pressure's on. And I think
that's when it becomes very different.
The one thing interestingly from the weekend is the psychological of the two teams. Because although, by the way, I'm not saying I'm disappointed with a draw at Liverpool. It's just on the circumstance of the table, I wanted to be in a position where if we won Thursday, we went above Arsenal. I'm obviously, any other time of the season, I'm delighted with that point, overwhelmed. Whereas Arsenal should have really been in a position yesterday where they were looking to narrow that goal difference. And they've ended up hanging on at the end. Yeah. And they well deserved to win, there's no question about it. Massively, obviously, helped by... Was you watching it live?
No. I was watching West Ham Norwich.
Of course you were, sorry. So I was out with in-laws in a pub, put the game on my phone. while we were eating. Yeah, I'm not bothered. It was only in a pub. And as soon as Ayling played the ball back to Meslier, I knew what was going to happen. You could see it. You know, you had the Mane one on Stefan in the FA Cup semi-final, and it was like, he's taking his time. Mm-hmm. This one, as soon as it happened, it was like, if he takes a touch, Nketiah's going to score. And I don't know how he doesn't read that. As soon as the ball goes past, when Meslier takes his first touch, Nketiah's like less than 10 yards away from him and sprinting at him.
Yeah.
I don't know how he thought he'd get away with it. And I just went, oh no. Because it's not like I didn't expect Arsenal to win, but it's the manner of it. And you think, that's the way you started.
Put up a fight.
And obviously, I've got a table of people looking at me, and I've now got to fucking explain myself of this shit goal. Then the second goal, brilliantly finished, by the way, by your mate, Suj.
Eddie.
I mean, it's a brilliant finish for the second goal. His body's going away from the goal. He's having to steady himself. Most people would fall over their laces doing that, and he just guides it lovely with his weaker foot. Brilliant finish from a man who can't finish.
Nah.
Good job we didn't get hat-trick, Suj.
No, well, that's true. But we'll come on to that. Me running through the street. Well, we can address it now briefly for the listeners that want to, for the Eddie Nketiah running through the streets naked Barnet thing.
So those who haven't listened to the Sky podcast on Wednesday.
I was trying to remember when. Most won't have.
This is why you've not had the whole community tagging you about this, because a lot of people haven't heard it.
Yes. I think, did I say, was it 3 goals or more than 3 goals? I think it was 3 goals.
What did you say? Do you want me to play what you said?
You can. I think it's if Eddie Nketiah scores 3 goals between now and the end of the season, wasn't it?
Let's see if we can play it. You've been hounded me.
It's fine. If Nketiah scores more than 3 goals between now and
more than 3 goals,
I'll run through the streets.
So you still got to score 2 more.
Ain't gonna do it.
They've got. Did you say more than 3?
Yeah, I just said more than 3.
So he's got to get 2 more.
There's more than 3, right? He's got to get 2 more.
So he's got to get 4.
For the people that want to see a video of me running through the streets of Barnet naked, it's only going to be available for Patreons. So you better go to patreon.com/Planet FPL and sign up, because there's one thing we love more than our dignity: money.
I really thought you was going to do I thought you was going to start your OnlyFans.
Nah, we're there on Patreon. So, but he's still got 2 more goals to score against
Listen,
Arsenal.
mate, we're going to leak that shit to everyone if it happens, mate.
No, mate, come on, make the money, man. Got bills to pay.
Mate, if Nketiah scores twice at Tottenham on Thursday, I can't even be... We'd both be sitting there
Streak the pitch.
The best comment I saw was someone said... Suj is probably gutted that James was right about Nketiah, and James is probably even more gutted that he was right about Nketiah. And basically, yeah, that summed it up absolutely perfectly.
Going back for more Arsenal assets?
No.
And Leeds, now Ayling suspended.
It's a ridiculous challenge. And Rafinha could have easily got sent off as well. He lost his head completely.
Well, obviously, everyone was thinking, what's going to happen, Rafinha versus Tavares? Well, Arteta probably thought the same thing and said, fuck it, I'm not going to play Tavares, and I'll move Tomiyasu to right.
Yeah, you got my sympathy. And to be honest, I was having a lot on my questions on my stream on Saturday about kind of cheap enabler defender. And I said Tavares nearly all the time. So
yeah, I was listening. Yeah,
I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing. I would have. I'd looked at Robertson to Tavares and Foden to Son as a potential -4. So, yeah, I would have gone that way as well. So, whether he plays at Tottenham on Thursday is obviously doubtful now. There is obviously a chance that Arsenal change system as well. We've spoken about this as a possibility, that they look at it and go, yeah, we'll match up Tottenham with the wing-backs and stuff. It'd be interesting to see who would miss out in that case. I suspect the way it is at the moment that actually it might even be Odegaard would maybe miss out if they match Tottenham up. You can always bring him into the game later. It wouldn't feel right to shoehorn him out into a wide position. If they do go to a back 5, I think Tavares will come back in, actually. I also think that he's obviously played Tomiyasu out on the left-hand side because he's very good defensively to obviously match up against Rafinha. He's definitely going to want Tomiyasu back on the other side to deal with Son this coming Thursday. So I think there's every chance Tavares obviously does still play on Thursday night. Big game, obviously. In terms of getting new in, I mean, to be honest, I've got Saka and Nketiah, and at the moment they'd be prime candidates to actually bench them next week with what I've got. I've got sort of 6 doublers already. It's going to be hard to make a case to play the likes of Saka and Nketiah at Newcastle rather than my Liverpool City assets.
Yeah.
Can't actually, if they return, they return. Of course they can. They're great assets. But yeah, that's probably the intention at the moment.
Leicester 1, Everton 2. Everton on a roll at the moment, doing well and clear of the relegation zone now. And you'd think that they...
I think if they win Wednesday, that's it. Safe, I think.
They're in the driving seat to get themselves sorted now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll be all right. Look, they're out of it. They're above the other two. They've played a game less. They've got better fixtures left as well. They should definitely stay up from here. I don't suppose there's anybody at this moment actually thinks that Everton will still go down.
No.
I expect them to win at Watford on Wednesday night as well. And then that's going to put them, 4 clear of Burnley?
Yeah.
And then, in theory, by Sunday afternoon, Everton could be officially safe. So I expect them to get the job done from here.
Leicester didn't go full strength. Obviously, no Maddison, not even in the squad. No Vardy.
Injured.
Maddison is.
Maddison, yeah. Wait, he's had this hip flexor problem. So I'm not saying that he won't play on Wednesday against Norwich, but I think they just made the decision not to.
Him.
Yeah.
But what do you think Leicester do now? Because they got the double in 37. Free hitters will want a couple, but they have been rotating the team.
Where do you go?
That's the question, right? I mean, Leicester are not a bad team, but if say Vardy plays, do you think Vardy now plays till the end of the season?
Yeah, probably.
He's got to get some minutes under his
I would expect
belt.
Vardy to start against Norwich on Wednesday night now. And to be honest, the spacing of the games, yes, there's every chance. But then he's also at an age where they've got nothing to play for either. Do they want to kill him? They don't need to, do they? Could you look at Jamie Vardy on a free hit? Well, we've spoken about the idea that financially there's not a problem if you're aiming towards doublers. So, yes, I think potentially you could. It won't be for me. It might be for you. I don't think it will be for me personally. Because I'd probably have to go Salah to Zaha, which I could do. I could go Salah to Zaha and then Nketiah to Vardy. Sounds a bit more exciting than most of the other things I was thinking about for next week, actually. But I wouldn't have any faith in him playing twice. And what if he doesn't? You want him to start at Watford, don't you? Yeah. You're not bothered about the Chelsea game. I've got Schmeichel next week. Defensively, how can they still not sort this out with the corner stuff? The thing is, it's not just that they're conceding goals from corners and you go, oh, they were a bit unlucky with that one. Clear-cut shit. That goal yesterday, Richarlison's got a free header and then Holgate's got another free header like 6 yards from goal. Almost identical, by the way. Those who listen to Clash of Correspondents joked about Holgate scored in that fixture last year. But I was part serious in terms of, look, if Godfrey's ruled out, Holgate at 4.2 will... Again, I would have bought Tavares more than Holgate, in all honesty. But the goal's identical to the goal he scored at Leicester last season, where he ends up prodding it over the line from a couple of yards. And Brendan Rodgers' only answer ever seems to be about, the players need to show more aggression. It can't just be that, mate. There's got to be more to it, and you're part responsible, actually. And he did actually say after the game, in fairness, that I'm part responsible for it, which is more than you normally get out of him. I certainly saw a little bit of murmuring of resentment to Brendan Rodgers from Leicester fans on my timeline yesterday, which I understand because they're 14th in the league and they absolutely shouldn't be in that position because they've got far better players than that, in spite of the fact they've had injury problems, right? Had injury problems last year and pushed for top 4 right till the end. So they've had a major drop-off. I'm sure their league position would be better had they not had the European campaign that they've obviously had. But now that that's gone and they obviously went out Thursday night, knives are out a little bit. And there's kind of a talk now in terms of they need a reset, the squad needs refreshness. I wonder, as we spoke about this with Aaron Lager back in January, February, if they're just better off just looking in a different direction. And, looking at someone like Potter now, before a Tottenham finally wake up and realise that there's a super potential manager there, in my opinion. Potter at Leicester, works. Yeah. Whether he'd want to go from Brighton to Leicester, I don't know. That's possibly doubtful. I don't know. But that would be a great appointment for them if they wanted to change. It just feels more and more now that Brendan Rodgers wouldn't necessarily deserve to lose his job. Like, he won the FA Cup with them, twice nearly qualified for the Champions League. They've had one bad season. You can make the case that deserves the chance to put it right. But if they start next season badly, it's inevitable now, isn't it? It's inevitable what will happen. And I just think teams now generally, you get rare cases, the Klopps, Guardiolas and stuff, but most teams now, you're looking at kind of 3-year cycles, manager and then change.
Norwich 0, West Ham 4. As my friend put it, and I told you before the game, is there a less intimidating place than Carrow Road on a sunny Sunday afternoon?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I'm there next Sunday.
It'll be rain though, in your luck.
I'm hoping not. To be honest, I'm not bothered because you probably got to wear a cap on that side actually, which I'd rather not take a cap.
It was. I knew after about 5 or 6 minutes how easy this game was going to be, and that we'd bat them. If it was just weird because the way they're set up, you've got Gilmore and who's playing alongside Billy Gilmore.
Norman play. McLean's been injured.
It wasn't. At least Malou's playing higher up. But they Rice and Souček had the ability to get involved with our picking the ball up off the back four.
Sorensen played. Yeah. Doesn't normally play.
Creswell
Sorensen.
Or whatever else, and they put so little pressure on. They don't have a press at all. You can just play around them so easily. I'm not sure what the defensive mindset is for Norwich. I mean, you mentioned it to me before we recorded, like Declan Rice completing 112 passes in the game. There were a number of occasions where we put together, it felt like 30, 40, 50 pass moves, just left
That's
to
the
right.
sort of pass number, by the way, that Declan Rice will struggle to hit in 3 games, the way West Ham play.
Toying with them, going left to right, waiting for the opportunity to get in behind, try overlap, get the ball in the box, know that they're defensively prone to making a mistake, whether it's a centre-back or goalkeeping error, and bang, you score. And it happened too easily, to be honest with you. I think, it's interesting. We've got now Man City and Brighton as our last 2 games of the season. Man City's at home. You alluded to it, that it could be tricky for Man City. They have, every time they come to the London Stadium, bar the League Cup, they always win 4-0 or 5-0. They just always...
They won't this time, mate.
Yeah, it's Mark Noble's last game. I think they're going to make a big deal out of it. The atmosphere will be good. I'm going to that game to celebrate Mark Noble's career, not as much as it is like West Ham's
Anybody else just
City.
sick in the back of their mouth?
Why?
Or is it just me?
Why?
Celebrate Mark Noble's career.
Why?
You're trying to qualify for Europe again, mate.
That doesn't matter. We've got to play City. The guy has played for the club for 18 years.
Okay.
550 games. So we're going to go and enjoy.
Why do you not have a framed picture of him here in this room?
How do you know I don't?
You don't.
I keep it under the desk.
Under the desk.
I'm going to go to enjoy the last game of Mark Noble's career. If you want to be critical of it, then you go on.
I will be critical of it. Do you know why?
Why?
He ain't even going to fucking start, mate.
No, he won't start. But he'll definitely get on. He'll definitely give him 10 minutes. And obviously they'll do shit before the match and what have you.
Will he though?
We're going to lose to City. Will he get on?
If it's 1-1 with 10 minutes to go, you think he's bringing him on?
No, he'll bring him on with 2 minutes to go, or 1 minute to go. But he'll get on the pitch.
Yeah,
I bet you. I bet you'll get on the pitch.
I bet you get on the pitch for that walk around at the end. In fairness, could I just say
he will get on the pitch?
He's had a few games recently. I thought he was pretty good at Chelsea.
He was very good against Chelsea.
He played the Arsenal game as well. He wasn't too bad. But I thought he was really good at Chelsea actually. Listen, I'm joking. You should celebrate his career.
It's an incredible achievement to play your whole career at one club, right? So I'll be looking forward to it. But I think we're still going to get.
No one else wanted him.
We're going to talk about Man City in a second. They're going to win, mate. 3-0, 4-0, 5-0
against you
comfortably. Yeah. They always do it. I don't know how or why it is. We've got a massive... I mean, most clubs have a massive inferiority complex against Man City, but they just seem to have a way of scoring early and then running riot. Although, it's going to be a lot more nervous for them knowing that they have to get a result, because if they don't, Liverpool can catch them and that kind of thing. So definitely different circumstances. I feel like we've quite often played them early in the season previously. We had them opening day of the season when Sterling scored a hat-trick, didn't he? When they beat us 5-0, I think 3 years ago.
sure in the league as well, it was 1-1 the other year as well. I feel like Foden come on and scored.
You're not talking about the League Cup and went to penalties?
No, before COVID. You played them like a Saturday lunchtime or something. It finished 1-1.
Historically, if you look at our record, it's shit. But anyway, no one's buying West Ham assets on free hit against City.
No.
But
not even Mark Noble.
A few might consider the last, if you're free hitting on the last day of the season against Brighton, if we need to get a result. But the problem is here now, Antonio went off at half time. I think he must have, he's broken his ribs, or he's definitely cracked a rib or two.
Really?
Yeah.
I've assumed it was just rest.
No.
Oh, he's done
he
some
took
damage.
He took a hit. Like the last 2 or 3 minutes of the first half, he was holding his wrist. He was like, basically, I'll ride out the last 2 minutes until the end, until half time, and just make the substitution at half time rather than take me off the pitch right now. The extent of that injury will dictate a lot, I think, for West Ham.
Worst stat I saw at the weekend was someone posted that Antonio had got 5 goals in his last 5 games against Norwich.
Oh, because he's got 5 in the last 2. Why would you not just put he's got 5 in his last 2?
It was 5 in the last 3. I just thought it was the most ridiculous stat,
Stats, all lies. This game was easy. If Antonio's out, I'm not really
I'm afraid
interested.
to say I just searched on Twitter for Antonio and I can't find a lot other than Antonio Conte. Sorry, mate.
He's definitely done his ribs.
I mean, the West Ham official account says seems to have picked up a knock.
Okay. If him holding his ribs and like really struggling is that it could be it could just be bruising or whatever else, and he'll be all right. But it was enough he was subbed because of that, not for just giving him a rest. So and that changes the way obviously West Ham play. Bowen gets pushed up top more than likely. I don't know. You have to make your own decision whether it makes him more attractive for the final game week or not. But
Bowen is close to 200 FPL points now.
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
Beastly.
In for a major price hike next year.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I think not a price hike that makes him out of reach.
8.5 maybe.
I just think, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the fact is, if he's still at West Ham, he's not going to be 10.5 million or so.
No, he's not.
You make the case that his returns this year, they're saying that he should be sort of 10 million bracket or so. I don't think he will be. He's sort of 8.5-ish or so, I think, if he stays with you. And very interesting starting next year. We haven't had many in that bracket this year that have been interesting. That kind of midfield,
Jota,
8.5-ish. Yeah.
Foden, there's only a couple really in there.
Mahrez. Yeah. There's always been like, I want to go and punt it though. Jota for a while was obviously very good. Just want to say on Norwich, obviously, look, fucking pitiful, disastrous. What I don't understand is they're done. They're finished. We know that. They've gone. Why the players on loan like Brandon Williams and Billy Gilmore still starting? Just send them back to their clubs.
Did you see the scandal with Brandon Williams as well?
What?
Also because I'm in a WhatsApp group with some Norwich City fans because of my Norfolk County Council.
Is this the sort of scandal you're allowed to say on this podcast?
Yeah, no, it's fine. But he posted some stuff on Instagram after the game, like a middle finger, basically. I think some fans followed him home after the game.
That's not on.
And he posted a picture of his dog, like a pit bull and a middle finger, saying that if you like ease up, Norwich City or whatever. Basically, having a pop at the fans, but also if fans are following a player home, that's not on. So it's caused a bit of an issue. The club have said they're going to investigate it now. But yeah, you're right. Like they're on loan. Why
they're not going back there next year, I don't think.
No,
I don't think Norwich fans want either of them back from what I've heard. So, yeah, get them out of the team and play the players that are going to
be there.
Exactly. Build for next year. Jan Newlis, actually, he's not done too badly at left back when he's played. So, that's a strange one. They admittedly ended up probably a bit short on numbers in the midfield area. But even still, I think, play a kid or something at this stage. Give the fans something. So, I know they brought the young boy Tony Springett on second half.
It was all right.
Do that. Give the fans there something that they can like get behind for the rest of the season and stuff. The thing is with them, honestly, you really don't expect them to score in any game.
Nah, they're very toothless.
It's been like that in Premier League games for a couple of years, unfortunately.
But you still don't want any Wolves defence.
I don't think you do. You can't make a case to go for it over like even singulars like Trent and Cancelo. Just don't. Realistically, Obviously, look, Cody could score, for example, but it's 6 points,
Not
really,
often.
isn't it? Well, particularly at this stage, you don't want to go for, I picked even that's why Sessegnon, I think, it's a decent pick last day for me, because the ceiling's potentially there to be quite big, I think.
City 5, Newcastle 0. City quietly do this, don't they? I think when some clubs win 5, like if Liverpool win 5-0, it's rock and roll. City just casually destroy teams sometimes.
Interestingly, there's a case to be made that Newcastle were better than when they lost to Liverpool 1-0, actually. They had some moments, particularly at 0-0 and 1-0, where Chris Wood had a brilliant chance at 0-0, and his header's not great at goal. And at 1-0, Lascelles' header, which leads to Wood finishing it, but obviously Gomes was offside. If he doesn't hit Gomes, it's going in the corner. So they had their moments, and that's when I, again, go back to your team, Suj, about potentially there might be an issue there with the aerial, because obviously City are short of players. And Guardiola did confirm yesterday after the game that Walker, Stones and Diaz will not play again this season. So it doesn't leave them with many options. And if you've gone with Ruben Diaz, you're obviously very unlucky. You obviously want to move that on at this stage. All that leaves them is Fernandinho obviously came on and played the second half yesterday. He said on Nathan Ake that he won't be available for Wolves, but might be available for West Ham. They brought a young boy, Egan Riley, on to play the last couple of minutes yesterday. But they ain't going to want to throw him into a game against the likes of Antonio, unless it's last resort, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio might not play.
No, even still. With West Ham, you've got to deal with
set pieces,
Souček's late runs into the ball, all these sort of things, right? You've got to be really switched on. So what it does mean is for those like me who own the likes of Laporte and Cancelo, I mean, you're as confident as you can ever be that these guys are going to start, certainly at least until the title is obviously won. So, they'll be same back four every game at the moment, won't they? It also means Zinchenko, interestingly, I think possibly really comes into people's thoughts.
Have the Twitter questions up in front of me. Dan Chance's obviously saying, should we think about a City defensive triple up? Because Zinchenko, Cancelo, Laporte, you feel like with the injuries, they're going to play, but Ake could jump in.
Yeah, all I'd say is that he's obviously gone Fernandinho at centre-back, and he's done this in the past. I mean, there was a season a couple of years back where Fernandinho played nearly every game at centre-back. So it's not alien to him. It's a position that he's obviously familiar with. And yes, they could go Fernandinho and Laporte at centre-back, which obviously gives them balance as well. We've spoken about the idea in the past of Laporte and Ake as both being left-sided is not something that he's particularly going to want in his team at the moment. So it could be that Ake would come in for Zinchenko. And I wouldn't actually be surprised about that as well. He's obviously got more aerial prowess than Zinchenko, and I'm sure West Ham could potentially look at targeting Zinchenko on the back post in that fixture on Sunday. I just think these things add up to the idea of, to answer Dan's question, is no. And to be honest, I might only start one this coming week. There's every chance I've got Laporte. There's every chance I could move him on or bench him, because I wouldn't be overly confident of that clean sheet at West Ham on Sunday.
Yeah. Newcastle, no doubles, no nothing, no interest.
I actually genuinely think you might get a point off at City on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd quite enjoy that.
I think you could.
I think we definitely got to go for it. I think we've got a week's rest now, which we haven't had in a while. So, let's see.
The offensive players for City.
Foden rested, Mahrez rested.
There was a bit of a gamble heading into the weekend with Mahrez, and there is some good news in this, is that I'd thought about the fixtures afterwards, and I know Luke is brilliant about this, FF Scout _ Luke Sable, and the way he predicts his City lineups, he's incredible and stuff. I tried to be Luke in my own mind at the weekend. I was thinking I can see that Guardiola will want Mahrez in the Wolves and West Ham games. So it didn't surprise me that Mahrez missed out on Newcastle. I do think he'll start at Wolves, and I also think he probably starts against you on Sunday as well. The problem is you want him to start Newcastle at home and Aston Villa at home. It wasn't a 5-0 game. I mean, even Callum Wilson had a great chance near the end. KDB, Sterling, you're in punt stage now, aren't you? If you're going with City now, you're doing it, and you should be aiming for the ceiling. And the majority of those attacking players are differentials. So crack on if you want to go with it. I don't know where I'll sit with them for free hit 38 yet. Let's get through 37 first.
Cool. We will go through some questions on Twitter because we've had a few interesting ones to cover off. But of course, wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe, like, and all that, because Friday we'll be back with the review of the
ratings,
rest.
all that shit.
Yeah, well, unless it's out of 10, in which case give us 10, right?
Give us 10.
Yeah. So we'll obviously talk more about wrapping the whole game week up. So much could change between now and then. Salah popping off today or not, as the case may be. You know what's going to happen is so many other players. It's the ones that didn't get rested at the weekend are going to get rested and screw it up, and the ones that didn't won't. Simple. But
for most people, the midweek changes will probably hurt more. Probably.
Unless it's Chelsea.
It stands to reason that most of the time you would expect your midweek score to be less than your weekend score normally. But as said, there's so many people got Salah caps in that go back the other way quite easily.
Cool. What have we got the rest of this week, James?
Good question. What's today? Monday. Tomorrow, clash of correspondents. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace with Lee Jackson and Nketiah. Wednesday, Sky Fantasy Football.
Just to add on that, relevant because, well, it's always relevant, but both teams double.
No, I've just got two dickheads on. I mean, that's partly true.
Sorry, both teams double in 36. 37, where it's here. So worth listening to if you're on free hit, especially because you might want to pick up more of their assets potentially.
Wednesday Sky Fantasy with FPL Canal, 7th overall at the moment. Still got a chance.
Dave is second, 10 points.
He's
10
Dave
points.
Perrin, simple
Come on,
goal.
Dave.
Come on, Dave. But Liam, who's top, we know as well. Yeah, good luck to all the guys challenging there in Sky. Incredible. So many went Diaz yesterday, about 9%.
Really? I didn't. I went
for
Laporte,
a lot
Cancelo,
of people,
KDB.
that would have been the last transfer as well. Absolute sickener. Yeah. Anyway, Thursday, reintroducing Bournemouth again with Neil Grover, our Bournemouth correspondent, going to join me on Thursday. Friday, me and Suj will do this again, immediately following Thursday night's North London derby. What am I setting myself up for? It could be drunk, giddy, could be all sorts on this podcast Friday morning. Our Patreon content this week is Q&A today. Tomorrow, one of our patrons, Sam O'Sullivan, is joining me. He's been to over 100 games this season at all different levels of football. So I'm going to get him on to talk about...
It's 3 a week. If you think about a 30, 35-week season, it's 3 a week.
Yeah, we're going to get him on to talk about his experiences. We're talking ranging here from Wembley and watching England and non-league teams you've never heard of. He's an Aldershot fan as well, so he's very familiar with the lower leagues of the pyramid. Wednesday, I'm going to do my Ask James stream exclusively for patrons. That'll be available for all tier patrons. Thursday, Tottenham, preview North London derby, talk more about whether you can beat City. And Friday will be our Game Week 37 preview.
Indeed.
Talking tactics this week will include a closer look at Villa's win at Burnley from the weekend, because obviously they play each other again next week. See what we can learn from it.
Nice. If you want some of that additional content, you know what to do. I mentioned it earlier, patreon.com/Planet FPL. Help support the show in the final few weeks of the season. We're going to rattle through some of these Twitter questions, James.
Go on.
Why doesn't Pookie score? Because he never gets the chance.
No one to create for him.
It's awful. Yeah. JJ Romano, Kane and Son on a free hit 37. Yay or nay? Doubling up.
Burnley. I think that's really difficult to say now. I mean, what's the optimal amount of doublers? We'll speak about this again more on Friday, no doubt. But you've got the 4 teams doubling. I feel like Burnley is it's not 4, it's 5, isn't it? Burnley's a no. Leicester, I think, is probably a no. But then Vardy is affordable. So if you have a genuine, real belief that Vardy plays at Watford, then I think he can be considered. Otherwise, they're just worth avoiding, I think. Villa have got great double you want, I think. Everton have got a great double you want, I think. And as I've said, I think Richarlison's going to be most popular. A lot of other people have already got Gordon and stuff. This is the thing, you don't need to spend the money, right?
No.
I mean, which Everton midfielder is probably the best asset at the moment, money aside? It's probably
Gordon.
Still fucking Gordon, isn't it? That's the point. And defensively, you'd make a case as Mason Holgate. Holgate and Gordon will cost you like 8.8 or something, like nothing.
9, I think now, yeah.
Ridiculous. So it does allow you to fit in 2 or 3 hitters, absolutely no problem. And yes, you could go with 8 doublers, and you could go Salah, Son, Kane, for example. Yes, you could. Ask me again Friday, I think it's important because it is worth saying. Obviously, emotionally, there's going to be a lot that goes into Thursday night. And win, lose or draw, you can probably reflect on it the next day. Then it's 12 o'clock Sunday for Burnley. We've obviously got all week to prepare for it. But certainly the Tarkowski injury certainly adds some credibility to having Harry around for that fixture as well. It probably depends how heavy and hard you go into the doublers. Because if you're free hitting this week, I'm convinced even that you don't need to be going 3.9 defenders on your bench. You're going to have the money. So, and I think the more people look at that, the more they'll think, do I want these doublers? Do I want these doublers? You know how people kind of always verge towards the doublers? I feel like this week it might go back the other way. Particularly if you get things like Liverpool win comfortably in the cup final when Trent comes off after an hour and stuff like that. Might add to the idea of having these guys. I mean, leaving out the likes of Trent, Cancelo, it's not easy and stuff. Even like Reece James at home to this Leicester next week as a single fixture if you think he's going to play and stuff. Yeah. There's certainly a case to have. I mean, you could have free Tottenham. I don't think I'd go like a Sessegnon on free hit this week. 38, I think probably yes. I'd still want to go with a doubler. Like if Gahey's available, I'd think you'd want it. And I couldn't ever be picking Sessegnon over Cancelo or Trent.
We have a question from Pilot Flame. Game day meal of choice at top West Ham. This is so obvious. We should probably make this a pinned tweet. You can make a graphic out of it. If you go to Tottenham, go to Chick King. If you go to West Ham, go to Rib Man. That's it. And if you're a vegetarian,
go somewhere else.
Just have chips. A Rib Man, you can just have the roll with butter, and a Chick King, you can have the chips. But Chick King and the Rib Man is where to go. Gary Mansell says, how lucky or unlucky do each of you consider yourself as FPL managers?
Oh, I think every FPL manager thinks they are unlucky.
I don't think I'm unlucky.
I just think you're shit.
Nah, I don't think I'm unlucky. It's not about being shit or not. It's about caring.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if you put time and effort into your management decisions and you weigh it up and you look at the pros and cons and then you look at every decision and then you can justify the decision-making process behind all of them and they don't work out, then you can consider yourself unlucky because you did the right things, right? I don't care more often than not. So I'll make a decision quickly, like whatever, and I probably haven't given it all the thought that maybe it deserves, but I don't care because it's only FPL and it's not the most important thing on planet Earth. It is for some, I get it. And therefore, you can't consider yourself unlucky. Because if you haven't done everything in your power to make that the best decision you can make and it goes wrong, well, then you haven't done anything in your power to make it the best decision you can make.
I speak about it all the time, right? Decision and outcome, two different things.
Yeah.
So once the decision's made, listen, football's got so many variables, right? There's no guarantee that Norwich won't score at Wolves and Pookie might get a hat-trick, for example, right? But on the face of it, you do the analysis, don't really see Norwich scoring goals at the moment. Similarly, it's hard-pressed not to see Liverpool or Man City winning most games, etc. Who would have predicted Chelsea to blow a 2-0 lead against Wolves, right? Is the decision process to keep a Reece James wrong? No, of course it's not. So, it's all about the decision. I don't think about it too much. There were certain things we, like, to be honest, getting Ruben Diaz. If you'd gone Ruben Diaz this week, that's obviously unlucky. In the sense he's got injured. That's not part of your process or anything, and you've now got to make another transfer to potentially remove that. That's a little bit more unlucky and stuff. But, I don't think over it too much. Sometimes I think I'm probably more lucky than unlucky.
There's a lot of mini leagues and competitions where if you look at where you want to be versus where you are, or like managers in and around you, quite often you're talking about a difference of 30, 40, 50 points between the first place and mid-table or whatever else.
You were only about 10 points behind me the other day, by the way.
No, I was 30 or 40. I closed the gap by 10 points or something. What are we now, 50 points, 60 points? 60, I think it is. Can't be more than that. What are you on?
It's about 80, I think now, mate.
Yes. Halfway through, I'm on 2,259.
I don't know what I'm on. Okay. If you look at the Planet FPL Correspondents League, then
tell you.
yeah. How many am I on? 2,330.
2330. So that is 71 points.
Yeah. Do yourselves a favour as well. While you're there, can you just do something quick as well? Can you have a look at, because we've obviously got a correspondence league with our correspondents, and there's also, if you come back out of there, Suj, there's a cup competition as well. So if you go leagues and cups, go up. Yeah, cups. Yeah, go Planet FPL Correspondent Cup.
Yep.
Who are you playing this week?
I'm playing you.
And you're getting annihilated.
So far, you know you're going to have to eat a shitload of humble pie if you end up losing. I didn't even know we had a cup, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it runs automatically now.
Oh, fair play. Do you know what? I've never even clicked on that tab. But yeah, so 71 points over the course of a season, that's 2 points a week. 2 points a week. So
yeah, bruv, there's 2 game weeks to go.
That's true. But if you think about, that's quite a big gap.
It is,
but it's also only 2 points a week. So if you break it down to week by week, then it's the difference between an assist being given or not, a player that you think is going to start starting or not. So yeah, I think we don't think about it at a bigger picture level. Take a step back and think, okay, over the course of an entire season, it's one player a week in terms of difference that can get you where you want to be versus where you're not. It's just not really, yeah. So the answer is I don't consider myself unlucky because I don't take as much time to make my decisions, but also I don't really care. But also I can't then, if I don't consider myself unlucky, I should really consider myself lucky because sometimes you make decisions because you just want to, and then Leandro Trossard scores 54 points in 7 game weeks. Yeah.
Let us know if there's any listeners who still own Leandro Trossard. Let us know, because I don't think we've got a single listener that owns Leandro Trossard.
It's like Gazza's asking this question as well, because we're talking about luck. Was going Diaz over Laporte bad luck or just a bad pick?
No, it's luck. To be honest, if I'd have been buying new this week, it'd been every case to go Diaz over Laporte because of exactly what I said earlier about left-sided with Aki and Laporte. If you'd thought Stones was going to be out to the end of the season, then arguably Diaz was the better pick.
Yeah. It's interesting because...
but Laporte always seems to score in double game weeks, I swear. It's like every double game week he scores.
Yeah, someone do the statistical research and analysis on it, and don't send it to me, send it to James. We'll wrap there. It's interesting because I was just thinking of Gary's question. In Sky, for example, though, I think it's definitely more skill than FPL, potentially more planning and what have you.
Don't start the skill v luck conversation again.
For more on that, I think you should probably tune in on Wednesday to Sky Fantasy Football. We'll end this pod here. More to follow at the end of the week. Hope you're enjoying your game week or not, but don't worry. 6 games to go. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Cue music, please, man child.